Hello, I am here with the beautiful and wonderful Michaela Kealey, a coach, a Mind Rebel Academy alumni coach. Michaela graduated from the coaching program last year, and here we are in this brand new chapter. Michaela, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, it's a total pleasure. I can't wait to tell people about my experience with
Let's hear it. I'm so curious. I want to talk about Michaela. It's been a couple months since you graduated the program. We spent, the majority of 2019 deep into some soul work, deep into coach skills training. Tell us about just like your experience with the whole thing.
When I think about where I was when I started to where I am now, it's such a radical journey. I honestly don't even believe it myself sometimes, just putting myself in that mindset of signing up for it and then everything that happened along the way. But I think my experience went from initially really wanting a framework to help people,
right,
what definitely got me into the program. But once I was in, I saw it was actually going to be this completely.
You're like, oh wow, yes.
So I learned the framework by doing it myself.
Right.
And it was at first, I think because of that, I found it uncomfortable at first because I didn't realize I was gonna have to be as vulnerable and open as really I expect other people to be. And so just that in and of itself towards the end of the program really was what taught me that that's how you actually do get change from other people, and how you do inspire it in other people is when you are the one to go through it first and tell the tale.
Right, it's like the walking the talk.
In a way that
I know.
No clue that I needed. It just it shook everything up, and signing up for the program at a time when I had been on sort of a 2-year gap year, life exploration. Said yes to the program after hearing about it for literally 1 minute. I was like, oh, a framework to help people. This is what I need. Yes, signed up. I was unemployed. I had no money. I had no idea how I was going to pay rent that month. And a year later, exactly a year later, I am on the executive team of one of Canada's fastest growing companies. What?
Wow.
It's amazing.
So wow, first of all, what a year. Yeah. What shifted? What do you think really, really changed things for you?
Oh, it's such a good question. And in so many, when I think about the program and coaching in general and what makes it so powerful, it's these really seemingly small moments, these small ahas, these small oh, I could do something different here, that really kind of day after day, when you make those super tiny changes, have this you wake up one day and you're like, oh my God, everything's different. I am so different based on just these tiny tweaks and shifts. I think what ultimately really changed for me in that year going through the program was really understanding what it is that makes me valuable as a human being apart from everybody else, and that's enough. And honestly, it's a feeling I had never known before. I had known I was, I provided value in jobs and to people, but I was always kind of thinking I needed to do more, or learn more or be different in order to fit roles, like in order to fit roles. And it was so early on in this program that because of using one of the tools that you had given, it kind of planted me in this space to have this opportunity to work for the company that I do now. And being there are people who really see the value that I bring to the table for nothing more than it needs to be, for just exactly what it is. And like, I don't even know if I had been given that opportunity, not having gone through the program, if I would have allowed that. I wouldn't even allow people to value me on that like very plain level, you know?
Yeah, it was like this uncovering for you that like everything you need is already right here. And it was stepping into that and just recognizing, like you said, that this is enough. And, you know, oftentimes our greatest gifts are, and like that, what you were talking about, like this kind of uniqueness that makes you you, it's so like innate in us that it almost feels like, oh, doesn't everyone do this? Or doesn't everybody have this? And then when you start to realize that, no, like this is actually your superpower. And then own that and recognize that that is all you need, it's game changing.
In the smallest way and in the largest way.
Can you talk about, so you talked about the big way, like just kind of this realization after a year of like, oh my gosh, here I am 1 year ago, jobless, not knowing what the hell I was going to do with my life, to now working in this incredible job that I love, speaking my truth and knowing my worth. But talk to me about like those little teeny moments that you're finding in the way. Can you explain a little bit more what you mean by that?
So I guess like, well, when I say like, oh, I used one of the tools that planted me in this position to get this job. And so one of the things that we learned early on in the program was that, you know, when you're kind of in a funk and you're spiraling into a place where you don't want to be going, you can create like in advance a list of mind resets.
Yes.
You describe as, you know, anything that like brings you joy or that feels good, or that would be more of a supportive, helpful action that you could take instead of continuing down the negative.
The rabbit hole. Yeah. Yeah.
So like that's something that was mentioned, I think, early on, like within the first 2 weeks or so. And so then I was finding myself kind of like 4 weeks later spinning in my apartment, like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to pay rent. And then you hear people tell this type of story, and I never thought I would have this story. And here I am, but like spinning, like, I don't know how I'm going to pay rent. I don't know what work I want to do. I don't know all of these things. And then this is something that was like so innocuous, like I never really thought about it. Even when you talked about it,
fair enough. Yeah.
Okay. And then I was like, wait, what's on my list? What are like the things that I like doing? And like kind of went through, like, okay, have a tea. I'm like, no, that's not what I want right now. Or, you know, like work out. No, it's not what I'm feeling. And then one of the things was to go to my favorite coffee shop and just spend time there. I love it. So I was like, okay, go to the coffee shop. You're going to make a plan. Something's going to come together there, and you're not going to get your butt out of that seat until you have a plan. So you apply for every job, or you launch your coaching program too early, which I really want to do. Felt too soon. And I get there, and as I'm walking there, I'm thinking about this girl that I know that I've only met at the coffee shop. I'm like, she could be a really good person to talk to right now. I hadn't seen her in months and months. Like we didn't talk. I didn't know. And I get myself to the coffee shop and I sit down and it's packed. And so I'm just like opening my computer, like ready to like look at jobs I don't want to do. And then a couple people get up and she's sitting two down. and we start just chatting, and I tell her, I open up to her and I say like, oh, I'm actually like, I'm kind of like struggling with myself right now. I need to find something. And she was like, whoa, she's like, we're hiring at my work. You'd be perfect for this HR job. And I was like, oh, I've never done that before. I don't think so. And she's like, no, trust me, you are the person for this job. And 2 days later I was working there, and just like the type of people I'm sharing with.
Oh my God. And it's like, that is such, yes, like it's those teeny tiny moments when you are spiraling or you're spinning or you're triggered, and you know what we call your rebel mind wants you to do something, and but those like inner whispers are guiding you somewhere else, and that's the process, right? It's just learning how to listen to that.
Right.
That's it. And learning how to listen to that, and we make it so complicated because we are so complicated, and then the path just begins to unfold and unfold and unfold in the most serendipitous and magical and wonderful ways.
It's like that's the thing, like to make that one decision to go to the coffee shop, like you think,
right,
in your mind tells you it's what you need to be doing is spiraling, like the spiral, it feels so righteous in the spiral.
It does.
Right? It's like, this is, you put yourself here and you need to be mad here, but it's like as soon as you take like one step outside, it's like solution land up here.
Wow, what a beautiful story.
Huh.
So oh my gosh, it's so inspiring. Like, I'm speechless.
Well, own that. Seriously, I have no idea. I have no idea where I would be right now if I hadn't like learned that I can choose differently. So like that's like it's such a small thing, but obviously it's massive and comes in to play in so many areas. So,
and our choices are like we make, you know, hundreds of little mini choices all day long, and those choices are what pave the way for a future.
Yes. Yeah. And I loved learning somewhere last year. I don't know. I'm such like a knowledge consumer. But that like partly why we don't take action in the things that would benefit us, like working out or eating right or whatever, making a change that you want to, is because we don't associate who we are today as who our future is. So like we think they'll just show up, but it's like,
right,
they show up because of what you do today,
and we have to almost like create it. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
That was pretty good.
So okay, Michaela, 1 year ago today, you didn't have a job, not certain what direction you were going in. Fast forward 1 year later, here you are in front of us right here, right now. What is possible for you 1 year from now?
I just got goosebumps.
I know.
It's amazing. Oh, that's amazing. That's an amazing question. And like, the thing is like, now I'm like, well, everything's possible. And I feel so unlimited in what I can be doing with this now, where like, even I could find myself in the last year since graduating, like, okay, kind of like not beating myself up, but thinking like, okay, you have to be doing this crazy job and you need to be building your coaching business on the side and doing all these things. And then I just had to kind of slow down and say like, hey, like you're doing something pretty big here. Just like I use my coaching tools all the time.
Absolutely.
All day. And so I just needed to sit in that. But now I'm like creating space in my schedule to take on clients, and that's amazing. It's so fun. I'm having so much fun with them, and like, so that's beautiful. So like in a year from now, I mean, I don't know. Could I be working with multiple corporations? Will I be working with more one-on-ones? Will I be, I don't know. And to be honest, like, I don't really care because I know it's going in this direction that like it's supposed to, and I'm just like really trusting in it.
Oh, it's like the best feeling ever. And that's what I say, right? Is like you're going to be a coach for the rest of your life. And there is no rush to, like, when you're in that, when you're where you're supposed to be and doing what you're supposed to be doing, there's no rush to make this thing work. It's like that is when life again begins to just unfold in the most beautiful way. And 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 even like things will come that you haven't even, like, you couldn't have even strategized or planned for in your mind. It's just unfolding in the most beautiful, surrendering way. And so I just love hearing, I love that response. That was so beautiful.
Yeah. And like, because we really, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. That was where it will steer you.
You don't know what next coffee shop you're going to be sitting at, and right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, oh, I just, it really is. It's like, it's an endless possibility and unfolding. And you learn so much too with each person I coach, either where at my job or with the people that I'm working with on the side. I'm learning so much, and I don't want to rush that either. I want it to unfold in the right way, and then to really know who I'm going to be able to serve in the highest way.
Yeah.
And like show up to a really high standard for them. So
beautiful. I love that. Okay, Michaela, who, having gone through the whole program, who is this for? Who is this program for?
It's a great question. I think what I would say, and if you know, it's for somebody who wants to help other people, help the people around them to elevate to a new mindset. At the same time, it's also for the person who maybe doesn't know that they need that and is ready to just see something different in their life and to trust that it will happen. It's a really investigative process of the self that I wasn't anticipating, and yet I honestly don't know where I would be if I hadn't had it.
So people watching right now who are on the fence or who are inside of a decision whether to join the next cohort, any words of wisdom you would share with them?
I mean, something I said to you, I think towards the end of the program, I was like, if I could pay you this money every year for the change that this has given me, I would pay the money. I mean, there's like, I have no words. I'm like, why wouldn't anybody do this? But I get it. I get that it's a big decision. And sometimes when we're really sitting in those feelings of worry around money or whatever it is, but there's just like, you can trust that this process will give you what it is that you need.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Oh, Michaela, I love you.
I love you too. I'm like, yeah, I'm so thankful for this program, and I'm so thankful that I got to do it in order to be able to support other people in the world. And I've really gotten to see that come into action. In my life. And it's amazing. It's going to trickle out so far.
Exactly. It's like the trickle effect and the meaning and the purpose that it brings to your life to then be able to use all of this inner work that you've done in yourself and have these incredible tools to make that change and to help facilitate that change within others. Yeah.
It's like, then I went on this journey of like it being really for myself to then come back to what I was looking for. which is to help other people. It really like came like,
oh, I have shivers.
Tied together.
That's it. That's exactly it. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michaela.
Thank you. Thank you.